Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today we're having another Magic Talk with Toad. And last week we went over our Final Fantasy set review. Went over some cards we thought would be good, some cards we thought would be interesting. And this week we are going over two decks that Toad has drafted up using some of the cards. One of which seems pretty funny, pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. And the other one I have some thoughts on, but I'm not quite sure what the thoughts are. It's just one of those things where you get a feeling and you're like, this feels weird. And, not in a good, funny way. But we will go...
It feels weird in going on a date with somebody who really seems enthusiastic about World War II history on one specific side.
Yeah, a little bit. How many of those dates have you gone on?
Drew, I don't date, remember?
What you had?
I don't do that. We don't do that here, folks. This is asexual hours.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? We're getting demonetized. That was within the first minute. Oh well. Anyway.
Drew, you've goofed.
I've goofed.
You screwed it all up.
Oh no! Whatever. Final Fantasy, as a week later, we've kept an eye on the prices from a lot of the cards we went through last week. Some of them have dropped in price, some of them have gone up, and some of them are right around the same ballpark. But all the ones that...
The prices for this set are unfortunate right now, and that is just going to be true until some more product gets released into the market.
Yeah. But with... That's made some of our deck brewing and deck thoughts. Toad's been talking more than I have just because... Toad's been talking to the community more than I have just because I've been busy working.
We've got ideas for some Final Fantasy stuff, but until prices come down a little bit more, it's just hard to build around a $4 card in this format.
Yeah. Sphinx's tutelage and water crystal, my beloved. Oh well.
Yeah, one day we might get there.
One day we might get there.
I really want to build a Yojimbo deck. I think that is a cool guy. Best blasted arm ever printed.
I forget what Yojimbo does, but we'll look that up in a little bit.
He does a little bit of everything.
Okay.
He's like a removal spell and a ghostly prison and a 5/5 and all kinds of nonsense.
Interesting. How much is Yojimbo?
It's like $4.
That's not too bad. Not too expensive for this, but not too bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the deck we're looking at now, the first deck, is a Martyr proc deck that Toad drafted up, and it's just kind of a variation on the standard Martyr proc deck, but this deck can actually win.
Yeah, I've been talking to a couple Martyr proc people. I've got Martyr proc built, but I don't really play it a ton, so I'm not an expert. But the deck struggles to win sometimes. It's hard to kill Martyr proc. It's also hard to lose to Martyr proc if you are meaningfully interacting with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to try out a new Final Fantasy card, which is Hope.
Hope time.
S-Time, yep. And Hope is just a little guy. He's a 2/2 with lifelink. And the relevant ability is at the end of your turn, if you've gained life, your opponent mills that many cards. So you can do something like have a Guide of Souls in play and play a Martyr of Sands and gain a life, and sack Martyr of Sands and reveal 6 cards and gain 18 life, and then replay Martyr of Sands with Luris and gain a life from Guide of Souls, and then sack Martyr of Sands and gain another 18 life. And so now we have gained 38 life, And we can maybe attack with the Luris and put some counters on it with Guide of Souls, gain another 5 life, and then pass the turn and mill the opponent for 40-some cards.
Yeah! It's pretty good!
So it kind of just rewards you for what the deck has always wanted to be doing. The problem here is just like if they have Rest in Peace or whatever, which has just always been the problem with this deck, is if they can really shut down your graveyard, you don't do a whole lot. You've got a bunch of 1/1s and 1/2s in your deck, and they're not getting the job done in any real time frame.
Yeah.
If the opponent is trying to burn you out or aggro you out with like 2/2s and 3/3s, you're going to be really happy about it. If they are a control deck that can't lock your graveyard down, you're going to be able to just keep putting creatures into play. If they are a combo deck that doesn't care about your life total or a mill deck or whatever, then you have a bad time.
But hey, it's using a Final Fantasy card. That's what matters.
That is the theme of this week. We've got 2 decks that are kind of taking Final Fantasy cards that are under $1 right now, and we're going to see where we can fit them in.
So we're going to generally go over the decks. We're going to do something a little bit special tonight where we spend about hour 20 minutes on both of these lists. Not an hour 20 on both lists. We're going to spend like so long on
45 minutes.
45 minutes, yeah.
Or 30 to 45, yeah.
30 to 45 minutes on each deck, talk about them, figure them out. And then we are going to stop recording and record another thing and do some gameplay where we go over some of our favorite value vintage decks we've built in the past few while. Not the Final Fantasy ones. These ones need a little bit more work. Or they need, like, figuring out.
I actually might play the second deck we're looking at tonight just because I want to get some reps in with it and see how it handles.
Okay, anyway. But we will. That's the general plan. So if you're watching, make sure to keep an eye out for the next video. So anyway, back to the list. So let's take a look at the creatures pretty quickly. We have Sky Hussar, which is when enters battlefield, untap all creatures you control. Are we really just using it for its forecast ability?
We are 99% of the time wanting to forecast this guy. You can cast him. He is a 4-power flyer. That's like plan D or E for the deck, where we're trying not to get to that point.
How does forecast work? Or is it
at the beginning of your upkeep, you reveal the card with forecast and pay the cost, which for this guy is tap 2 untapped white or blue creatures, and draw a card.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So you tap your Guide of Souls and your Thraben Inspector, and you just draw a card every turn.
Yeah, alright. Then Thraben Inspector, good value card, gives us a body, gives us draws.
Yeah. The Sky Knight and the Thraben Inspector are the draw power for the deck.
What's better, Thraben Inspector or the other Thraben Inspector that's a detective? Which one's cheaper?
They're both like a nickel to 6 or 7. Like they're all bulk. I actually had a 2 and 2 split, but just for the purposes of keeping the deck list trimmer, I made it all Thrabens.
Okay.
Soldier is a slightly more relevant creature type if we want to do anything with that.
Got it. Then there's Martyr Sands, who's the one highlight of the deck where it's 1 mana for a 1/1, pay 1, reveal X white cards from your hand, sacrifice it, gain 3 times next life. So we just reveal our entire hand and gain all that life.
Yeah, this is very consistently giving you 12, 15, 18 life.
Yeah.
And if you manage to get into a position where, like, you have 2 Sky Hussars going and the opponent is locked behind Kami of Hope, you can start gaining 18, 21, even 24 life a turn.
Yeah. Then Hope S. Slime, who's the card we were just talking about, where Hope's a 2/2 for 2 with lifelink. Bears have really come along the way. Though this is not a bear, this is... is Hope a child?
I don't know. I know that Hope is a guy. People told me that who are into Final Fantasy. I don't know if they're a little guy or a big guy or like what's going on here.
According to the General Final Fantasy Wiki, Hope is a normal boy from a normal family whose childhood on Cocoon can best be described as uneventful. Inexperienced in the ways of the world and won't turn to his mother for protection, he's simply unprepared for the turmoil in which his life is thrown when he unexpectedly caught up in the Sanctum's brutal purge.
Yeah, he's just a little guy.
Just a lad. He is 14 in Final Fantasy 13 and Lightning Returns. He is 24, 27 physically in Final Fantasy 13-2, 514 in Final Fantasy 13-2 chronologically, and 1004 chronologically in Lightning Returns.
Yeah, those are definitely some ages that a character could be.
Those are anime protagonist ages.
Those are the biblical character ages.
Yeah.
Alright, so Hope is a little guy. He's given us some lifelink.
Not a bear.
And he's just a mill engine.
Good mill engine. Then there's Benevolent Bodyguard, who is a classic creature. It's just mom, but not mom.
Mom at home.
Mom who dies.
Yeah.
Anime mom.
Disney mom.
Disney mom, thank you. Luris.
So, yeah, Luris. Luris is our first recursion engine in the deck. So we're not doing anything with the companion. So Luris is just a 3/2 legendary cat thingy lifelink. And it lets us play our guys out of the graveyard. It lets us play all of our 1-drops. But importantly for this version of the deck, Luris lets us play Hope out of the graveyard, which our other graveyard engine does not let us do. So we do kind of need... We want to be on at least 3 Lurises. Some decks are on... I've actually seen Martyr proc decks that do not have Luris. And I think for this, where we care about Hope, we definitely do want them.
Yeah. Then there's Speaker of the Heavens, who 1/1 for 1 Vigilance lifelink. Tap a create a 4/4 if your life total is 7 more than your starting life total, and only as a sorcery.
This is our primary win condition as far as combat goes. If we are beating down the opponent, Speaker of the Heavens is the way that we want to do that.
What a control win con.
I mean, he's a 1/1 for 1. He's just doing little guy stuff. And but this deck is very much little guy central.
Little guy central. We have Kamiya False Hope, Mr. Frog. We love Mr. Frog. Not Mr. Frog. Yep. Mr. Frog, someone else, but this is Mr. Frog.
Yep. 1/1 spirit, and you just sack it to prevent all combat damage for a turn.
Yep. And then God of Souls, because it's great. Another creature. Oh, God. God of Souls is nearly $3. Holy shit.
That's why we only have 2. Ideally, the deck would probably be on 4 God of Souls. It is a life gain engine, and it's also our plan B as far as combat goes. Mm-hmm. This will let us buff up a Luris or a Hope so that we can fly in with a lifelinker and just keep the life train going.
Yeah. And then Swords of Plowshares for removal. What is Abiding Grace? Is that what it says? On Scryfall, the artwork's weird.
Yeah, it is Abiding Grace. So this is a 3-mana enchantment where at the beginning of our end step, so notably that does matter, end step and not upkeep, we either gain a life or we reanimate one of our 1-mana creatures. So unfortunately, the way that Hope works and Abiding Grace works, you do have to have gained life before the Abiding Grace trigger resolves if you want to mill the opponent.
Yeah.
So I believe you can stack it so that you put the Hope trigger on the stack, and then you reanimate Martyr with Abiding Grace, and then you can sack it to make the Hope trigger bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% on that. Intervening if clauses are one of my weaker points as a rules thing.
Yeah. And then Castle
But
Ardenvale. Oh, sorry.
I do believe if you have gained some amount of life, then Hope will trigger. Actually, there's no intervening if clause, so maybe it just is fine. Maybe I'm worried about nothing.
Yeah. This is one of those things where you just put on Arena for it to actually work.
Yeah, or MTGO or talk to a judge or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it does work the way we want, so that's great.
Mm-hmm. Alright, and then Castle Ardenvale for our control win con, because of course.
We've got 10 basic planes in the deck. We might as well throw in a Castle Ardenvale.
And 4 Prairie Streams, which is a plains.
And 4 Prairie Streams. Like, we're on 14 planes. Like, Castle is almost, not entirely, but almost free.
Yeah. Well, it's not free, it's 14 cents.
Yeah.
Do we want to run two? Do we want to run 2 of those? We have.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, you don't want to have it as your only land. Like, that is punishing. And I don't think we're going to be getting up to 10 mana to activate 2 of them at the same time.
That's fair.
And it's not central to our game plan. It's just, we have 14 planes in our deck. We're mono white, basically. We might as well run a Castle Ardenvale.
Alright.
It triggers Guide of Souls. It blocks if we need to block. It pressures Planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then we've just got 9 dual lands. Only one a Darkheart Waste because still like 30 cents, but we had a little bit of budget to fill out.
10 planes, 4 port towns, which did Port Town get cheaper or did?
Yes.
Okay.
They have been reprinting all of those cycles as well as the Pain lands. So mana bases for Value Vintage are getting much cheaper.
Cool. And then Prairie Stream, which is that's the dual land.
Just a dual land, yep.
Then sideboard we have Cathar Commando to destroy artifacts or enchantments. Curse of Silence.
Yep. Cathar Commando, another card that pays us off for having Luris in the deck.
Curse of Silence, what's that for? Or for combo decks?
That is a anti-combo card. Okay. Buy us a turn or 2.
Giant Killer, I'm assuming for more removal.
Yeah, like just if the opponent is doing like Reanimator stuff, like bringing back Cave Trolls or just in general, like if they're Nick Fit, I've seen a couple people talking about Nick Fit decks with Grave Titan, just dealing with that kind of stuff. Like the sideboard for this deck is kind of just whatever. Like you're basically mono white. If you wanted to, you could splash in like Test of Talents or something.
And then Deafening Silence is a great one because we are only playing creatures early.
We're extremely heavy on creatures. We can play our sorcery speed, Abiding Grace, and then swords them on their turn, and that's all the non-creatures we're ever going to worry about. Against some combo decks, we do board in a lot of non-creatures, so like Deafening Silence, Curse of Silence, Soul Guide could potentially all come in together. And then at that point, you do have to think about what you're doing a little bit, but I think it's worth having all those cards.
Okay. Cool. Let's check out a few test hands. This video is going fairly quick. We have Port Town, Prairie Stream, Plains, Martyr, Abiding Grace, and Luris.
This is a lot of lands. And no 2-drop, so I think this is a mulligan.
There you go. I'm sharing the screen with you so you can watch it.
Oh yeah, let me crawl inside your computer and check this out. Yeah, this is a mulligan to me. We have the Martyr on turn 1, but you really want to play Martyr on turn 2 so that you can immediately sack it and not get burned, like lightning bolted or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't have anything to fill in the mana
Oh.
on turn 2. And then we have 2 recursion engines, but no payoff besides Martyr. And then 4 lands is a ton for this deck.
Yeah.
So this seems like a mull to me.
Deal another hand. No lands.
Yep, well, no lands.
That's
Okay.
pretty good.
I would put back.
Let's assume this is a mull of 6.
Game 1. Yeah.
This is a mull of 6.
This is a mull of 6. Yeah, we're gonna put back probably the castle.
All right. Let's play test this. Castle. Moved. Bottom of library.
So then we get to Port Town.
Port Town. Reveal plains.
Show plains.
Guide of Souls.
Play Guide of Souls. Yeah.
Guide of Souls.
Turn 1 Guide of Souls is basically best case.
Cool. Then next turn. Plains.
Yep. Plains. We'll drop out of Plains and play Martyr.
Martyr.
Yeah, this Martyr does look a little bit sad because we had to mulligan and we've got too many lands, but we're gonna gain 6, and like we do gain 1 with the guide, and we get an energy.
Cool. All right.
We do want to attack if the opponent is open. Like our deck, even though we have hope, we really do care about combat damage.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to do it in small chunks if that's what we have available, because we don't have a lot of big creatures in the deck. 1 or 2 points is probably going to matter.
Cool. Next turn.
Yep.
Abiding Grace.
Yep. So
Play
I would play Luris.
It's Luris. Hello.
Yep. And then we get our energy and we gain our life.
Energy. Pure energy. 2 energy.
And then we are 1 energy short of doing the Guide of Souls thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like at this point, we probably can't attack because our creatures are like 1/1s and 1/2s. Anything shuts them down.
Yeah.
So I think we would have to just pass the turn.
All right, next turn. Thriving Inspector.
All right, so here's what I would do on this turn. I would sacrifice Guide of Souls and gain our 9 life.
Sacrifice Guide of Souls in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And then replay Guide of Souls from the graveyard.
Guide of Souls, gain life, gain energy.
And then play Thraben Inspector.
Thraben Inspector, gain life, gain energy.
That only costs 1. Oh yeah, we're good. Alright, so then we have enough energy that we can attack with Luris and turn her into an angel.
Pay 3 energy. 1, 2, 3. And he gets 2 1/1 counters? It does. And it's
She
an
gets
angel.
2, and then a flying counter as well.
Remove. Change this a little bit. Remove counter. There we go. 5/4. It has flying. Good. We gain 5 life. 1, 2,
And we
3,
gain
4,
5 life.
Next turn.
So, yep, next turn. I would play. Well, I would sack the clue. So tap both of our planes and sack our clue.
Sacrifice the clue. Draw Kami.
Yep. At this point, I think we can't really do anything else meaningfully. Like, If what we're doing is good against the opponent, they are pretty close to locked out.
Okay.
Because we're gaining 9 life a turn. We've got the fog set up. We have enough lands to cast all of our spells.
Yeah.
And we've got basically a Baneslayer Angel, so 5/5 flying lifelink.
Let's take it 2 more turns, because that's how long it'll take for Lurrus to kill.
Okay. So I would drop the land.
Lander's tapped.
And then I would only play the Kami. Actually, how much energy do we have right now?
We have 1 energy.
Alright, I would not play the Kami this turn.
Okay.
I would just attack with Lurrus.
Attack with Lurrus. We gain 5 life.
And then at the end of the opponent's turn, we would sack the Martyr and gain 9.
Sack the Martyr, gain 9. Or, wait, do you want to use the swords just in case, or sack the Martyr? Which one do we prefer?
The only time we would use the swords is if the opponent had a flyer big enough to block Lurrus, or a creature that was a combo piece.
Okay, so we'll just sacrifice the Martyr and gain
9. Because if the opponent is attacking us with like a 10/10 on the ground, that's actually amazing for us, because that lets us start recasting Thraben Inspector every turn.
Yeah.
And if they have a small flyer, then we're just going to race it.
Yeah.
Like a 5/4 lifelink races a Delver or a Spirit or whatever.
Next turn, it's a Plains.
Yep. So play the Martyr out of the graveyard.
Gain life, gain energy. Life.
Gain life, gain an energy. Play the Kami.
Do you want to gain 9?
No.
Okay.
We're already at 53, Drew. Like, the only time that my life is going to matter here is if the opponent was actually attacking us, and the Kami is going to stop that permanently, or if the opponent was on like some kind of combo burn deck that can deal a finite but large amount of damage, like 110 or something.
Got it.
So we're just in race mode, and we can attack with the Guide of Souls now and make the Guide of Souls an angel.
Do we have 3 energy?
We should, because we've played 2 creatures and we had 1 to start.
Okay, yeah. So this Guide of Souls, swing Lurrus. Boom, boom. Add a counter, and yeah. That should be good.
So now we have the ability to gain 6 life if we need to. So like if the opponent has like copying Fire Blast or something, then we can respond to that with life gain. If the opponent has infinite damage, we're dead. If the opponent has a like Lich's Mirror combo, I'm not actually sure how much damage they can do with that. Probably enough, but like we're good against finite sources of damage at this point.
Yeah. Cool. Let's reset this. Close you. Yeah, okay. Let's check it again. So, 1 lander, we got Prairie Stream, Kami, Speaker, Thraben, Martyr Sands, Glivin, Bodyguard, Lurrus.
1 land is rough, but our hand does has 5 1-drops, so I think we keep that.
Alright. So we played Prairie Stream.
So yep. Unfortunately, our Prairie Stream does come in tap. So if we draw a untapped land, we're actually doing pretty good.
Okay. Next turn. Port Town.
Tapped land is fine. So we're gonna play out the Speaker of the Heavens.
Speaker of the Heavens.
Unless we think the opponent has removal ready to go, in which case we would probably play out the Thraben Inspector, but I think Speaker is fine.
Okay. Next turn. Prairie Stream.
Yep. So we're going to play that, and we're just going to play Martyr.
Play Martyr.
And then we're going to sack Martyr and gain 12.
No, don't tap you. Get out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4,
And
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
we're going to make a 12 or a 4/4 angel token from gaining 12.
There's our angel. Next turn. Thrive Inspector.
Right. Make another angel.
Make another angel.
And then I would play out Benevolent Bodyguard.
Benevolent Bodyguard.
Because if the opponent has not found a removal spell by now, they are now unable to easily kill our cleric.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would also just run out both of the Thraben Inspectors.
Put one here. Add a clue because I forgot to do that last game. Whoops.
Yep, I remembered.
Pepperid's Farm remembers. Thraben Inspector. Add a clue.
And then we're going to attack for 4 with our first angel.
Swing for 4. Next turn. Hey, it's Guide of Souls.
Yeah, go ahead and play Guide of Souls. And make an angel.
Add token, angel, gain a life,
Gain a life.
Get energy.
And then I don't think we're likely to die to combat damage, so I would just main phase crack a clue to find a land drop.
Goodbye, clue. It's a land.
That's a land. So play out the plains. We might as well play out the Kami and get our energy.
Kami. Get a life. Get an energy. 2 energy.
And then attack for 8.
Attack for 8. And next turn, we just win.
Yeah, we have lethal. And even if they have killed something, we can play out Luris, which gives us another energy, and then we can make a Thraben Inspector attack. So, like, we're very much overkilling at this point.
Yeah.
Again, just like we would have been vulnerable to a combo if that's what the opponent was doing, but we were pretty well set up against aggro decks or mid-range decks.
Let's try this until we get a hope win, just so that we can actually see it.
That could take a while.
Alright. So, we're at 30 minutes. Let's do 40 minutes, so that could either be one more game or 2 more games. Or 2 more tests.
I mean, if you want to, like, draw an opening 6 and then just put hope in your hand, or actually, mulligan, just find hands until one has a hope in it, and so a couple lands. So we'll see how that works out.
Okay. Prairie Stream, Port Town, Prairie Stream, Swords of Plowshares.
No hope. Just go until you have a hope.
There's one.
That's a hope. And it's 2 lands, and we've got some stuff, so let's do it.
Playtest. Plains and Speaker of the Heavens?
Speaker, yep.
Speaker, I hardly know her. Next turn. Prairie Stream, tapped.
Let's Swords to Plowshares and attack.
Swords to Plowshares, a critter. Attack, we gain 1.
Yep.
Next turn. Thraben Inspector.
Let's run out hope.
Run out hope.
Just try to efficiently use our mana, and then we can probably attack, because, like, we've swords to their creature.
Gain 1 and they mill 1.
Yep.
Next turn. Speaker of the Heavens.
Play out both our 1-drops.
Thraben Inspector, Speaker of the Heavens.
This is a point where it starts to get rough to attack with 1/1s and 2/2s.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So I think we probably got to stay home on this one.
Cool. We have a clue. Alright, clue. Next turn. Another Abiding Grace! No!
All right, sack the clue.
This is terrible. Let's play a game till we get hope. Draws 4 abiding graces and a speaker of the heavens.
And three speaker of the heavens. Yeah. We're not winning this game.
All right, that's stupid. Let's try that again. That was dumb.
Yeah, but this is a game that you just are not winning.
Plains, Port Town, Swords, Guide, Luris, Sky Hussar, no. Plains, Prey Stream, Thraben, Guide of Souls, Thraben, Swords, Pleasures.
Don't even bother reading it if it doesn't have a hope in it.
This one, no.
Right, there's a hope. No, this is fine. This is totally fine.
All right. Play test.
So we're gonna play the planes and play the speaker.
Play the speaker. Next turn.
We're gonna play Martyr.
Play Martyr.
And attack.
Attack, gain 1. Next turn. Luris. God damn it. Oh no.
We're gonna sack the Martyr and gain 18.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Then we're gonna make a 4/4.
Cool. Next turn. It's a land. Holy shit.
Yeah. So we're going to play Thraben Inspector and Benevolent Bodyguard.
Thraben Inspector. Benevolent Bodyguard. Tap the speaker for an angel.
Yep.
Tap the speaker. Get an angel. Swing with the angel.
Yep.
I wish I had a clue token too. Clue token. There we go. Over here. Next turn.
There we go. All right. Sack the clue because we need to find a blue source.
Goodbye, clue. It is Speaker of the Heavens.
Sure it is. All right. Let's bash in for 8.
Bash in for 8.
Then make a 4/4.
Tap thing. Get a 4/4. So next turn it'd be speaker, but we do Sky Hussar and tap the tap the bodyguard, tap that, reveal this. Hello. We draw a card and then we draw for turn. It's a plains.
I'm sorry, Drew. We're not gonna hope him out this game.
Jesus Christ, this is terrible.
Here's the thing. It is like the backup plan in this deck. We're only running 3 of them. We don't always have the blue mana. It's not something that you're relying on happening. It's just, this is a way, like if the opponent is immune to damage, which is a thing that happens sometimes, hope is our way around that main deck. If the opponent is just like, if we can't attack them somehow, hope is our plan around that. If the opponent is also on Martyr Prac, don't laugh. It's happened before. Then hope is our win condition.
If the opponent's also on Martyr Prac, oh no!
Yeah, I remember Modern when Soul Sisters Mirrors was a thing, and you should be grateful that you never had to deal with that.
Okay, that's close enough to 40 minutes. Let's close that one. Let's go to this weird garbage deck.
Drew, how dare you call my favorite terrible cards a garbage deck?
Stay away from my trash. All right, I need you to explain this one to me. We talked about it a little bit before we started, but
all right, let's just start off. Hover over Gal because we have built this deck entirely to take advantage of Gal.
Okay. So Gal is another bear. Only this time, I think, is Gal a child again?
Probably. We're only allowed to play with children cards until the prices come down. Is apparently how this works. So you're not going to find anything until you take the S off of finals.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Gal, fantastic. Damn it. Gal, Final Fantasy VI. No! There, better, whatever. It's Gal Child. He's a feral child.
Yep, absolutely. We're all kindergarten all the time today.
Oh, no. Gao is a feral child who grew up on the Veldt, learning to mimic the behavior of monsters. Sabin and Kyan earn his trust while traveling through the Veldt and becomes a unlikely ally of the Returners. Gao's little direct connection to the story of Final Fantasy VI, as presence is more intended as a more way to grow the world of the game over serving the main narrative. So he's just a 13-year-old goober.
He's just a little guy. It is all little guys today, Drew.
Biographical information. This is funny. Home, near Mobilist, age 13, born April 5th. Hobby, running wild, loves shiny things, hates clothes. Treasure possession, teddy bear he had near when he was abandoned. Zodiac sign, Aries. I don't see how any of that's relevant, but it's funny.
Hey, you know what? He actually has a teddy bear in this deck.
Does he?
So
oh yeah,
and he's got a teddy bear and he's got shiny things.
Amazing.
So he's gonna be so happy to be in this value vintage deck.
Amazing.
All right, so let's just run through it. So Gal, whenever he attacks, he gets a +1/+1 counter. Just no extra hoops to jump through. Just attack and get bigger.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of each end step, so each, not just yours, but both players, if a card has left your graveyard this turn, he deals damage equal to his power to each opponent. So if he has attacked at least once, that's going to be 3. But we have some ways in here to make it more than that.
Yeah, alright.
So first off, do you want to just go through an order, or do you want to focus on some specific stuff first?
Give me a second, and we can... Let's go card by card, except for Gao. We already went over Gao.
Okay. So this deck has multiple cards that pay off for having a lot of card types in your graveyard. So we have a couple card choices in here that are just like probably not optimal, but they add a card type to the deck. And Garrick is one of those. So I wanted to fit in a Planeswalker that was under $1. There's not a ton of options, like Minsk and Boo is closer to $3. We could run Chandra, but my thought process with Garrick is if we can flip him over, then he can find Gal.
Yeah.
So Garrick is just kind of, he's 4 mana, he's not great. He is a little bit of removal. He is a little bit of a token generator. And then on the backside, he's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
He pays us off for having creature cards in the graveyard. Like, all the stuff we want to be doing. Chandra would also be fine. The Torch of Kaladesh or whatever Chandra is also pretty affordable.
Yeah.
There's probably the new Koth, I don't think is very good in this deck,
No, I don't
but
think so.
that's affordable. Arlen, like there's some of the War of the Spark Planeswalkers are like 20 cents if you want to just shove Angrath in here or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Garrick. He's 80 cents. He's not unreasonable. And he does synergize with the deck a little bit more than just, oh, here's a random Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Grim Lavamancer.
Yeah.
Do we want to read Garrick? Garrick has like 6 abilities on him.
All right, yeah.
We should probably like...
For audio listeners, the whopping one of you, Garrick Relentless is 3 and a green. Planeswalker Garrick. When Garrick Relentless has 2 or fewer loyalty counters on him, transform him. Garrick Relentless, for the first +0, Garrick Relentless deals 3 damage to target creature. That creature deals damage equal to its power to him. We got a notification of something. Then, uh, his other zeros put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. And he flips into Planeswalker Garruk the Veil Cursed. +1, put a 1/1 black wolf creature token on with Death Touch on the battlefield. That's pretty good. -1, sacrifice a creature. If you do, search library for a creature card, reveal it, put in your hand, and shuffle. Sure, we can tutor for Gao. I had -3, creature control, gain trample, and gain +X until the turn where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard.
So most of the time that we see Garruk in this deck, he's either going to be getting milled or discarded. Like, this is not a card that we've put in the deck because we want to cast him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is we play Faithless Looting, we draw 2, we discard Garruk to help Delirium, or we mill with Monstrosity or DRC and we put Garruk in the graveyard to help Delirium.
Yeah.
But if we do get into a game where it's getting a little stretched out and we have 4 mana, making 2/2s every turn is reasonable.
Yeah.
And coming down and killing a 2/2 and flipping over is also okay.
Yeah.
Like, you can also just lose Garruk. Like, if the opponent has a 5/3 or a Lurrus or something, you can just kill it and Garruk dies, and then guess what? He's in the graveyard feeding Delirium, which is what we're wanting for him.
Could we use Garruk as bait, like bait removal?
Yeah, if you want to like bait a lightning bolt or something, Garruk does that.
Cool.
And he leaves behind a 2/2.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a one of, so like it's not gonna be great, but it's neat.
Yeah, it's not a focus of our deck. It's just we're adding a card type to the deck. Like, we have 1 Garruk, we have 1 Tarfire, we have 4 Faithless Looting, but we also have a Sunring Eruption as just an extra sorcery.
Then we go Grim Lavamancer. Pay red, tap it, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. Grim Lavamancer deals 2 damage to any target. Classic burn card.
Yep. So this is a way to make cards leave our graveyard to trigger Gal.
Yeah.
It is also a way to get blockers out of the way to attack with Gal.
Mm-hmm.
And if the opponent is on like Mana Dorks or Guide of Souls or whatever, stuff like we've seen, Deep Cavern Bat is a card that shows up a lot in Value Vintage.
I thought Deep Cavern Bat was like $1 or $2.
Nope, down quite a bit.
Did you get reprinted or something?
Yeah.
Huh? Yes,
It's had a couple like special promo printings.
Yo, that store championship promo looks sick. I love that.
Yeah, I've got a couple of the store championships, but I only have a play set of the regular ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's come down to like 25, 30 cents. It's very good. Some other stuff, like Grim Lavamancer will kill a Lurrus. Like, 2 damage kills a Lurrus. So if you're dealing with a lot of Lurrus decks, if you're dealing with a lot of energy decks, Grim Lavamancer, reasonable card. But primarily it's just in there because it's a payoff for all of the self-mill that we're doing, and it triggers Gal.
Okay. Then we have Ursine Monstrosity. At the beginning of combat, your turn, mill a card, and choose an opponent at random. It's a 60-card format, whatever. Ursine Monstrosity attacks that player. This combat available. It's 2 and a green for a bear mutant. Ursine Monstrosity gains indestructible and gains +1/1 for each card typed among your graveyard. That's pretty good.
So Ursine Monstrosity, when it's attacking, is always going to be a trample. It's always going to be at least a 4/4 because it mills 1 card, and so there's at least 1 card type in your graveyard.
Yeah.
If we have like Faithless Looting and pitched a land and a Garruk, and Ursine Monstrosity mills Ignoble Hierarch, then Ursine Monstrosity is attacking as a 7/7.
With indestructible and trample.
With indestructible and trample.
That's kind of nutty.
Ursine Monstrosity is one of the like go-to aggro creatures in this format. for decks that aren't like pure prowess or energy or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to have, like, we have Grim Lavamancer and Lavadar and Scrabbling Claws, so like we're gonna be like shrinking our own graveyard to trigger Gal. But Earthside Monstrosity doesn't need a lot. Like 2 or 3 card types is plenty.
It could be a 4/4 for 3 with Undestructible and Trample. It's still kind of nutty.
Yeah. And we have the Mana Dork. So like you can go turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 Earthsign.
Yeah.
Then it'll mill, but you don't get to attack. And the next turn it'll mill another one. If it's a different, then it'll attack as a 6/6 because of the prowess. 6/6 attacking on turn 3.
Yeah.
Possibly the same turn that you play a Rancor or a Burn Spell on a blocker or a Tyvar stand or whatever.
Yeah. Alright. Then Gal Feral Youth, we already went over. Solid card, we talked about it last week. Ooh woo, ow wow, I'm Gal, your friend. Friend.
Yeah.
That's the flavor text.
He's just a little guy. We're not going to cringe because he might be somebody's favorite little guy.
Anyway.
But yeah, Gal attacks as a 3/3 for 2, and then he gets bigger. So just like the Monstrosity, if we attack 2-3 times with the same creature, it's going to be quite big.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Ignoble Hierarch, which... Sure.
So red-green aggro traditionally is an archetype that likes to have mana dorks around.
Okay.
And this is prowess, so like it's making our Gal bigger.
It's exalted.
Like if you play turn 1 Ignoble Hierarch, turn 1 Gal or turn 2 Gal, and then turn 3 Lava Dart their blocker, flash it back on their face, put a Rancor on Gal, we're like attacking for a huge chunk of damage.
Ignoble doesn't have prowess, it has exalted.
Oh yeah, well I forget, but like what I'm saying is it makes Gal bigger. We want it to make Gal bigger.
Buff that child up.
We want the little guy to become large. Heckin' Chonker Gal.
Heckin' Chonker Gal.
So if we can have Gal have 5 or 6 power when it attacks on turn 3, that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. And then Darcy. Darcy's great. We love Darcy.
Yep. DRC is taking a chunk of our budget, but it's really doing everything the deck wants to do.
Yeah. Darcy, for those unfamiliar, it's Dragon Rage Channeler. It's a 1 on the red. It's just 1 red. One of you cast a non-creature spell, Surveil 1. Look at the top card of your library, you may put that card in your graveyard. Delirium, as long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard. Darcy gets +2. It has flying attacks each combat available. It's just Delver's Secrets, but slightly different.
A Delver at home. But he's gonna fill up our graveyard. He's gonna enjoy having a filled up graveyard.
Is Darcy a guy?
Is it? I don't know.
Let's look, because
I gotta be honest, like, I am not good at telling that to begin with, and when the picture is like 1.5 inches wide, I just cannot tell.
Yeah. Open image.
So, for characters who are like legendaries with actual lore,
Darcy
okay,
looks...
I guess
Darcy looks
that could be a lady. I don't know.
Yeah.
So she's gonna fill up our graveyard. She's gonna enjoy having a filled up graveyard.
Darcy looks pissed.
Yeah. That's why she has to attack every turn.
That's fair.
So we do have 8 creatures that have to attack each combat.
Mm-hmm.
So if the opponent has like a big flyer that we can't get through, like an angel token or a merit lage that it can't attack yet,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to be a pain in the butt because we have to swing into it. But like, we're playing a red-green aggro deck. If we're not attacking, our deck doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Then Faithless Looting,
Yep.
classic card. Needs no explanation.
I mean, let's just read it out. Red, sorcery, draw 2, discard 2, flashback for 2 in a red.
Oh.
Again, we're filling up the graveyard. Faithless Looting has flashback, so it removes itself from our graveyard to trigger a gal. Sundering Eruption, mostly in the deck. A single one of, mostly in the deck as a land. Like, it's a red land on the back. But it is a sorcery in the graveyard, and so that's going to help us with Delirium. And like I just said for DRC, our deck wants to attack. This makes it so that they can't block us.
Yeah, I guess.
Tarfire.
Kindred. It's a red for Kindred instant goblin deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Has been errated to any target. It says any target.
Yeah.
Kindred instant goblin deals 2 damage to any target.
Yep. This is just a worse lightning bolt that happens to have 2 card types.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it might be too cute to include this, but it's fine. Tarmogoyf decks used to run Tarfires. We're only running 1. Again, this is a card that we just want to get in the graveyard. If we have to cast it to do that, then maybe we kill a creature or hit us something. Like, just, it's a card. It's a 1-mana card. It does a little bit of work. It synergizes with the deck.
What we can do is we can play our Garrick and Tarfire it and flip it over.
Yeah, that's a legal thing to do. We can also Lava Dart our Garrick if we want to. We can Grim Lavamancer our Garrick if we want to.
Dumb plays.
That does actually make Garrick a little bit better than when he was printed because you used to not be able to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we can pretty consistently flip over Garrick if we want to do that.
It's dumb, but we can.
Yep. Lava Dart,
2
single
Lava
red
Dart.
mana instant, 1 damage to any target, flashback, sacrifice a mountain. Again, a little bit of burn, card that leaves the graveyard on its own. Triggers Dragon Rage Channeler to mill.
Foil Lava Dart's $15. Holy cow!
Yup. Popper staples, man. When they get foils, they go up.
That's nuts.
Look, switch printing and see how much the original printing foil Lava Dart is.
$32 or
Yeah.
$32.50.
Yep, it is real good. Like, you look at Lava Dart and you're like, this seems really bad, but it does a lot of work.
I like this artwork. This is $18, but it's a very cool artwork.
Yeah. Well, if you want to buy them, go nuts. I'm
not paying $18 for a dumb card.
I did just pay $4 each for Warhammer 40k Swords to Plowshares. Because they have a tank on them, Drew.
Amazing.
How can you not want a card with a tank on them? Alright, so yeah, Lava Dart. We can team up Lava Dart with Grim Lavamancer if we need to kill something bigger, but probably that's not ideal. So, Tyvar Stand, I wanted to have a couple cards that protected our creature so that we can keep Gao in play or we can keep the Earth Sign in play.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Tyvar's is actually one of the more expensive versions, but it is a mana sink. So we can give... So, like, if we have 3 or 4 lands, which I think 3 lands is pretty reasonable, we can give Gao +2 power, and then he's gonna do an extra 2 on combat, and then if we trigger him, he's also gonna deal an extra 2 on the end step.
Okay.
So three mana on Tyvar's stand, and then flashing back a lava dart or whatever is actually 4 damage in addition to protecting Gal.
Okay.
So I also thought about Vines of Vastwood, but I decided to go with not needing double green because our mana base is pretty red focused. And then I also wanted the Indestructible because people do play Shatter the Sky in this format. So Shatter the Sky, Filigree Silex, no witnesses I've seen. So there's actually some sweepers that we would want to be able to play around.
Yeah.
And then it also just lets us like attack into a bigger creature. Like we can swing Gal into a 4/4 and get our counter, and then they block, and we Tyvar stand for X=1 and make him a 4/4, and then their guy dies, and we have a bigger Gal, and we can trigger him.
Yeah. Sure, I guess.
So that is, yeah. I mean, I know that you're not fully sold on this deck, but I have a method to my madness.
Okay.
All right, so as far as artifacts, we've got 2 Scrabbling Claws. So this is Graveyard Hate. That is also a cantrip, so it's kind of doing the same thing as Soul Guide Lantern, just not as efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
But what it actually lets us do is tap Trigger Gal.
Okay.
So just, we have this, we're going to play this like as our last card after we've built up our board when we need to start triggering Gal when he's already a 3/3 or a 4/4.
Okay.
And as long as we can keep putting stuff in our graveyard, we can use this to trigger him.
Got it. The Mishra's Bauble, great card. It's a 0 mana artifact that you tap, sacrifice, look at the top card of target player's library, draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. You can do this on your turn, draw on their turn, or do it, or sacrifice it on their turn, draw on your turn, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, just more Delirium, more cards in the graveyard. It is +1 to the graveyard for free, just 0 mana, 0 card invested. And it also is like, lets you dig through a lot of cards with DRC. It's a little bit pricey, so like Mishra's Bauble DRC is our engine where we've put a lot of money for this deck. They're like $1 each for all those cards.
I'm just curious how much foil Mishra Baubles are. Secret Lair Drop is $20. That's a cool Mishra's Bauble though.
Yeah.
Or there's another version of it that's cheaper. That's $10. And then there's a serialized version.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to invest in the serialized. I might pick up some white bordered ones. Those are fun.
You like the white bordered ones?
I do like the white border. When I started playing, everybody hated white borders, and it was because a lot of people didn't play with sleeves.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if they were like drafting or whatever. So the white borders would get beat up immediately. But if you double sleeve your stuff, the white borders are pristine and they look really nice to me.
Okay. I had a white border Blood Moon I really liked. Yeah, white border Blood Moon I really liked, and I had to sell it once.
Rough beats.
Yeah.
Alright, so those are the artifacts. We've also got a couple enchantments. So Case of the Crimson Pulse is 3 mana. Discard a card, draw 2 cards. And that's okay. Like, usually that effect costs 2 mana.
Yeah.
But if we ever get to where we have no cards in our hand, which is something that I think this deck will definitely have happen, because Faithless Looting is technically card disadvantage.
Yeah.
Mishra's Bauble, we can just play out and have sit and play if we need to. Lands are just going to play out. We don't have a ton, so we're not going to get a bunch of lands stuck in our hand. And all of our cards are cheap, so we should be able to play them out pretty well once we get to 3 or 4 mana. And then if we do that, then Case of the Crimson Pulse becomes really good. Because at the beginning of our upkeep, if we've done that, we're going to discard our hand and draw 2 every turn. So we're going to be, if we have cards in our hand, we'll fill up the graveyard a little, then we'll draw 2, then we'll draw for turn. So we're basically getting 3 cards every turn new to look at.
Yeah.
So that's going to find us our Rancors, it's going to find us our Gals and Monstrosities that we need to attack with, and it's going to just fill up our graveyard with like lands and random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Rancor, classic card.
Classic
single
card.
green mana. Single green mana for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. Gives the creature +2/+0 and trample.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if it goes to the graveyard from the battlefield, it comes back to its owner's hand.
Which does matter for Gal.
Which does matter for Gal. So if something happens to our creature with Rancor, and we can actually force this to happen. Like, I don't think this is a good play, but it's a line to be aware of. We can put Rancor on Grim Lavamancer, and then Grim Lavamancer can shoot itself, which will have the Rancor die and then come back. And then we can put the Rancor onto Gal, which will give him +2 power, and he'll trigger. So he'll be doing like 4 or 5 damage at end of turn.
Yeah. Foil original Rancor is $50.
Yep.
That's not that bad, honestly. We're not buying it, but it's not that bad.
As far as pre-modern foils that are very playable in multiple formats, that is pretty reasonable.
And then the Friday Night Magic one is $13, $14. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
And then we have...
let's run through the lands. So we've got 2 basic forests, 5 basic mountains, game trails and cinder glades. So you've got your basic dual lands here, the peak lands and the dual buddy lands. And we've got 3 barbarian rings. So threshold in this deck, I think, might be a little tricky because we are using our graveyard as a resource.
Yeah.
But let's say we get Wrath of Godded and we lose 4 creatures. At that point, I think we probably have threshold.
Mm.
So this is kind of a last couple points of burn scenario here.
Yeah.
And then Centaur Garden is worse than Barbarian Ring, but if we're adding on to a Gal trigger, it's slightly more efficient.
Mm.
And I just wanted another green source. So it was like the actual choice here was Forest or Centaur Garden, not 4th Barbarian Ring versus Centaur Garden.
Yeah. And then the sideboard is 3 Pillage, which that's pretty good.
let's talk about this sideboard a little bit. This is what in Magic is called a transformational sideboard, which is where you are using most of the space in your sideboard to completely change the plan of what your deck is doing.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. So we are changing our deck from like a fully aggro red-green deck to a Ponza deck.
Yeah.
Which is a red land destruction thing. So we're going to have Pillage, which is destroy a land or an artifact for 3 mana. We're going to have Heritage Reclamation, which is destroy an artifact or enchantment or exile a card from a graveyard and draw a card. We're going to have Shenanigans, which is destroy an artifact and has Dredge 1, so that triggers Gal.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we're making it all work with is Liquimetal Coating, which just turns whatever we want to destroy into an artifact.
Yeah.
So normally this is going to be lands, but it could be a 5/5 creature or whatever. So we've just got a bunch of artifact removal, and we've got a thing that makes stuff artifacts, and then we have 2 Tarmogoyf Nests, which, if we're making the game go a little bit longer, Tarmogoyf Nest is going to make really good threats.
Tarmogoyf Nest is kind of cracked.
It is. I got to step out for just a second. I'll be back in like 90 seconds or a minute.
That's fine. I like this pawn's change. Honestly, if I had my way with it, I think I'd do pawns as the main thing. I just have Gal and Ursine Monstrosity, and then sort of like Grim Lavamancer and the rest of the main package, but just the the weird one-offs kind of throw me off. I understand what they're for now and like how they kind of work, but like they feel kind of like jank to me and like inconsistent, but like not terrible. This is one of those ones I gotta see it working first. So, I don't know. But we are running Gal. Gal will probably make the thumbnail for this episode. Because I like that artwork. I like the Fallout Rancor. I looked up the Rancor prices, which I thought was cool. This is a brand new card from Tarkir Dragonstorm, I think. Heritage Reclamation. Heritage Reclamation. Are you... Nope, Tarkir Dragonstorm, first printing. Look at that, that's pretty good. Foil's only 50 cents, or 40 cents, that's not too bad. And then liquid metal coating is kind of nutty. Liquid metal torque. That says target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. This is any target permanent. We want to shoot the lands. Brothers War. Oh, it's serialized is $200. Scars mirrored in. What was the Scars foil? I'm kind of curious. Scars foil is $5. That's not too bad. It's $4.39. Then, ooh, I like that Brothers War promo. That's 20 cents. That looks sick. Like, I love the blue contrast with the mud/metal background. Like, that's a nice boulder. I love that boulder. They'll soon become accustomed to wearing skin that is not their own. Elishnorn Grand Cenobite. Cool.
Okay, I am back. So that was the list. Do you have any further questions?
This is definitely something I mentioned it already while you were away. This is definitely a thing where, like, I think personally I would have gone the pseudo Ponza route primarily and done the other weird janky shit second, but like I understand why you did what you did. This is
so Ponza is a strategy where sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's not, and you don't usually know that until you've played the first game.
Mm-hmm.
So having the land destruction synergy stuff in the sideboard lets you only bring it in when you know it'll be good.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing against 3-color affinity or a boom bust deck, the Ponza stuff is going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
The artifact removal against affinity is all obviously fine, but if the opponent has indestructible lands, you're not going to be able to keep them off of their lands.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ponza stuff is much more vulnerable because you're taking a longer time to win. So you're giving the opponent more time to kill you if the Ponza stuff doesn't actually shut them down.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I get it. It's just like, it still seems a bit odd to me.
Transformational sideboards are usually not correct. I actually just put this in here because I wanted to show this as an option for people.
Got it.
Because we haven't covered a transformational sideboard on any of our lists yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to like introduce people to the concept who might not have been super familiar with 60-card Magic.
Got it. So let's do a few...
Like, I know when I give loner decks to people at Friday night events, a lot of them are commander players, and they have little or no experience with sideboards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of them are like, so how does sideboarding actually work? And, like, you gotta explain it to them. And so I do want to make sure that we talk about sideboards and sideboarding plans and stuff going forward so that if somebody is just getting into the format and their previous Magic experience is commander and sealed, then they can know about like how to build a sideboard, how to put together actual plans after sideboard. Because even at like high level event coverage, I see people sideboard and they just sideboard badly.
Got it. But
So,
why are they sad? You're not in their shoes. You're not a pro player. What do you mean sideboarding badly?
well, I watched some coverage of Value Vintage, and people were boarding in artifact removal against Lich's Mirror,
Hmm.
and that just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but like if you think about it on a surface level, it's like, yeah, my opponent is winning with artifacts, so I'm going to bring in my artifact removal. But the problem is, once the artifact is in play, they just win the game in response to your artifact removal.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to actually resolve or revoke existence on a Lich's Mirror or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's just something to be aware of. Also, a lot of the time, the correct way to sideboard is to just not sideboard.
Yeah.
The 15 cards that are in your board, leave them there. Play your main deck. Your main deck is tuned to do a thing. Let it do the thing. The only reason you need to sideboard is if the thing your deck is doing isn't good enough against the thing your opponent's deck is doing.
Yeah. Alright, let's test a few hands with this, and then we'll call it there for the night, for at least this episode. So we have
And then we can, yeah, this is, I think, a keeper.
Mishra's Bauble, Centaur Guardian, Barbarian Ring, Scrabbling Crawls, Faithless Looting, Darcy, Faithless Looting.
Yep.
Let's try it.
So obviously we're going to go turn 1 DRC Mishra's Bauble.
Right.
We do take a damage.
Play damage, play Mishra's Bauble. Game Trail.
We do want that because all of our lands hurt us right now. So I think we want that game trail.
Move top library. Alright.
And then we're gonna peek at our opponent's top, so we're not gonna really know what that is, but we will draw a card.
Ooh, wait, see the thing. We draw a card on their turn.
Yes. But we're done. So we're gonna go to their turn and draw a card.
Go to their turn, draw a card. Next turn, Gao.
So I think we do want to get Gao down. So let's play the Centaur Garden, take 2. This is unfortunate, but like this is the price you pay for having utility land sometimes.
Yeah.
Play the Gao.
Play the Gao.
And then we get in for 1.
Play for 1 Darcy. Next turn, Barbarian Ring.
Let's pre-combat Faithless Looting.
Pre-combat Faithless Looting. Lose a life. Draw 2, pitch 2. Case of the Crimson Pulse. Mountain, hey, alright. And then
let's discard Barbarian Ring. And I don't think we want this mountain, but we want it for Game Trail. So let's discard
Case or I'm saying case or claws.
Well, hold on. Do we have a way to get Delirium this turn?
What's the graveyard? View all. Artifact, sorcery, land. So.
Alright, so we're gonna discard Case.
Yeah, throw Case away, that's Delirium.
Like, Case is a really good card to have next turn, but we're gonna discard it. And we're gonna play the Game Trail.
Game Trail, reveal mountain, there it is. Whoop.
And then we're gonna Faithless Looting again.
Faithless Looting again. We draw a Noble Hierarch and Darcy.
Alright, we're going to pitch Ignoble, and we're going to pitch Mountain.
Pitch Mountain.
I think we were also supposed to Surveil before that looting resolved.
It's Barbarian Ring.
Yep, put it in the graveyard. And then we're going to cast Scrabbling Claws.
Lose life. Scrabbling Claws. Lose life. Alright, take care of that.
And we're going to Surveil.
Surveil is Case of the Crimson Pulse.
We want to keep that one on top. That's a great play for us next turn.
Okay. Move top library.
All right. So we're gonna attack. So we're gonna attack with both of our creatures as 3/3s now, because we have delirium and Gal gets a counter.
Whoop. A minute. Reset power toughness. 1/1. Then Gal. I already did Gal's counter.
Yep. And then after combat damage, we're gonna exile a card from our graveyard with Scrabbling Claws. And it's gonna be the Mount.
The Mount or Barbarian Ring?
Mount.
Okay. Move to exile.
And then at end of turn, we'll deal 3 more damage. So this is turn 3, opponent's at 10.
Yeah.
So next turn.
Case.
How many cards do we have in our graveyard?
7.
All right. Sack the Centaur Garden to pump Gal.
A pedigree and tap sack it. Give Gal plus 3/3.
Yep,
1,
and
2,
then
3.
attack with everybody.
1, 2. Gets another counter.
That's lethal.
Yeah, you're right. And then we Scrabbling Claw. If somehow they do it.
And then if we need to, we can do another 7 damage.
Yeah, you're right. That was pretty quick.
Yep, like that's what I'm saying. The deck looks really weird, but it does the thing it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So if you want, we can go ahead and run another one of these.
Yeah. Let's go here. Cinderglade, Game Trail, Mishra's Bubble, Lavamancer, Darcy, Gal. That seems real good.
This seems fine. Yep. So we're gonna Game Trail, show him the Cinderglade.
Cinderglade there is.
Run out of Darcy. Throw down a Mishra's Bauble.
It is a Darcy.
Reveal. We're gonna put that in the graveyard. Yeah, we're gonna put that in the graveyard.
Alright.
Because we have creatures to cast already.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna sack it, and we're gonna look at the opponent's top card, and we're gonna draw. And we're gonna pass the turn, draw a card.
Oh, Rancor. Next turn.
And then we're gonna draw for turn. Alright, yeah, let's run out of Mountain. Let's play Gal.
Play Gal.
Attack for 1.
Swing for 1.
Pass a turn.
Next turn.
We'll play out the Cinderglade. Let's play the Rancor on Gal.
Rancor and Gal.
We're gonna Surveil with the DRC.
It is a Tyvar stand.
We're gonna put that in the graveyard.
In the yard.
We are going to attack for 6.
1, 2. It's counter, so that's 6. That's all.
Yep. And then we have to tap the Game Trail for Rancor.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll play out a Grim Lavamancer post-combat.
Post-combat Grim Lavamancer.
And then we can end the turn.
Next turn, Game Trail.
This is not ideal. I guess we play the Game Trail and play out the Ursine.
Is it Ursine or Ursine?
I don't know, man. I'm not a bear.
I see.
I'm a toad.
That's fair.
Then we just attack with Gal for 6.
Okay, let me check something. Attack with Gal and Darcy for 6?
Do we have Delirium?
No, we can just attack with Gal and Gal gets counter.
It is turn 4. We're not swinging with a 1/1.
Alright, cool.
So Gal goes up to 6.
Yep.
Then I guess we pass the turn. Actually, at the beginning of combat, hold on, go back. At the beginning of combat, we should have milled that Urza's Bauble.
Is that each combat?
Yes. So would that give us Delirium? I don't think so.
No, because we already have a Mishra's Bauble in there.
Yeah, we already had a Mishra's Bauble, but we do have that card in the graveyard. So then we would attack with the Gal for 6, and then we would end the turn.
Cool. That's fine. Not much changes. Our draw changes.
Yeah.
Next turn, we draw Tyvar Stand.
All right. Let's go to combat and mill with a monstrosity.
We mill a land. That, I believe, is
there
Delirium.
we go. Now we have Delirium. Let's attack
land,
with
artifacts,
everything.
Instant, creature, yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to attack with everything. Not the Grim Lavamancer. Everything except the Lavamancer. I believe this is sufficient to kill the opponent
I believe
by
so
itself.
Too.
However, if we need to, we can Tyvar Stand the Gal, which will make him, I believe, 9 power. Because we need to keep a red open for Lavamancer. But we Tyvar Stand the Gal, he becomes a 9. And then Tyvar on his own is a 9 power trampler that's going to deal 9, which is 18, and then 2 from Lavamancer. So if somehow we had just never done damage this game, we're still doing 20 on turn 5.
That's not too bad.
Like, I think being able to kill on turn 4 is necessary for an aggro deck, and we can do that. Turn 3, so like the pure mono red prowess burn decks can kill you on turn 3. In fact, can kill you on turn 3, but most of the time the draws are going to be turn 4.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we got like turn 1 DRC, turn 2 DRC, Mishra's Bauble, Rancor, we might be able to put together a turn 3 win. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's...
now that we've jammed this deck a little, I kind of want to fit some Angers into the deck.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how much they cost.
Let's look. Anger. I think they're cheaper now because it's Final Fantasy. We talked about it last week. Anger with the Final Fantasy version would probably be cheapest. It is $1.
$1 is actually doable. So let's look at the list. Let me look at my list and I will change it to fit in 2 Angers. So 1 Anger, 2 Anger. I'm going to cut one of the Tyvar stands.
Okay.
I want to cut one of the Ignoble Hierarchs because we didn't even need one. And we actually... I could cut one of the Ignoble Hierarchs, or I could cut the Sundering Eruption. Yeah, let's take out the Eruption, because I think enough of our creatures have Trample that I was underestimating how effective that would be. So then I do want to fit another land in. So... No, you know what? Let's run 19 lands, because we were doing fine. And we'll play a couple more test games with this deck when we switch over to the Cockatrice stuff.
Yeah.
So let's try the list like this. So if you want to reload the list now and let people take a look at it, I just cut a Tyvar stand and a Sundering Eruption for 2 Angers. And we're actually 23 cents under budget, so we could splurge a little bit. I'm going to cut 1 Barbarian Ring for another basic forest.
Okay. Could we drop an Ignoble for a Tyvar stand? I feel Tyvar stand might come in more handy than Ignoble.
Yeah, we can do that.
Also, could you add me as a co-author to the list?
Yeah, I'll do that for both of them. How do I do that? Just
Should be right at the top.
plus by my name.
Yeah.
Yes. So request pending. Welcome to the ToadBrews, my friend.
Amazing.
All right, so I think we're good as far as covering Decklists for tonight.
Yeah.
So if you want to do the YouTube sign-off stuff, and then we'll stop this and then start a new one.
Perfect. In that case, thank you everyone for watching. We really appreciate it. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure to follow and share and all that. Though we didn't have anybody. We have 2 viewers on Twitch, so you never know. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, please. It really helps. I do read all the comments. We don't get a whole lot, but I do read them all. Toad and I were very happily talking about a comment that was left on our Final Fantasy video where we were making fun of $40 mythics. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Like, subscribe, follow on the socials, all that good stuff you know from all the YouTube videos.
Yeah, baby. On the left side of the screen around now, you will see at the top where you'll see a video of ours that is recommended to you. Watch it. You never know. You might like it. It'll be a little bit long, but you know, it might leave it in the background. Have it be a vibe. And then underneath that will be the playlist of all the other Magic Talk with Toads. Currently, they're all deck brews or set review. But if you keep an eye out next week, there will be gameplay. So, keep an eye out. So, thank you very much for watching, and we will talk to you all later. Bye!